Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lunch for the Soul. I am Melissa Wilson. I have an incredible guest to welcome you to today. I hope she opens your heart and opens your mind with her interesting testimony. What a testimony she has. So let's get right to it. Catherine Duncan joining us right now. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Great to meet you. Thank you for having me on today.
I'm going to bounce around for just a moment. So, first of all, I want you to tell everybody what you do right now for a living. And then I want to go back to your childhood and talk about how this probably all came about in your life in the first place for a number of reasons. So, let's first of all start with your career.
I am a national author. My book, Everyday Awakening, launched 2 years ago, and I've been on a book tour for a couple years, speaking tour. And I'm also a national podcast host for my podcast, Everyday Awakening. And I have a private practice as an integrative spiritual consultant where I see people providing emotional and spiritual support and do quite a bit of public speaking as well.
Well, congratulations on your huge, smashing success on that book. You were taking the world by storm, so I'm so happy for you. I know that that was a lot of work and love to put into it, so I'm thrilled it's going well for you. Let's go back to your childhood. Diagnosed with a rare cancer, only given 20% chance to live. How old were you and what were you diagnosed with?
I was 11 years old and suddenly gravely ill, and my parents took me to the hospital and diagnosed with what's called Ewing sarcoma. And back then in the 70s, yeah, the survival rate was 20%. Now the survival rate's radically changed, but it
Hmm.
was life-changing experience for me.
In what way? How did it change your life?
So this was back in the 70s. And in the 70s, they had no program for children to talk to children about going through treatment. I went through really intensive treatments. And my parents, I felt their love, but no one talked to me. And it was really grim. They did a lot of amputation, going through all these treatments. And I quickly felt like I was between life and death. I felt like I was walking on a tightrope. I grew up really fast. And out of nowhere, I just started to pray. Faith had meant nothing to me. We intermittently would go to a Lutheran church, but I just started to pray, could I please live? And could I live to be 20? I thought if I lived to be 20, I would see the world. And
Mm.
not long after praying day after day, not telling anyone, one afternoon, this energy just poured through my body as something from beyond. And like, I knew I wasn't alone and I knew I was going to live.
I wish you could see the close up of my skin. I literally got goosebumps when you said that. And so, did you share that testimony at the time after you experienced that and maybe tell your parents or friends what you experienced?
I told no one. Yeah, I look
Really?
back now and I told no one, but it gave me so much comfort
Hmm.
for every week going to the U of M hospital, children's oncology ward, where, people were screaming and crying. They had no anti-nausea drugs, and most of the kids had amputated legs and arms. And it
Mm.
comforted my heart. And it just, yeah, I held on to that tightly. And I didn't tell people till, gosh, maybe in my 20s. And this was the impetus to writing my book about
Hmm.
how we can live in the moment, in the oneness with this universal energy, whatever you want to call it, God, divine, source. But this has been part of my life to this moment.
It's incredible. Okay, so let's talk about that 20th birthday when you made it to your 20s and you had begged to live that long. What did that feel like?
Yeah, it felt kind of surreal, actually. I was
Hmm.
like, wow, here I am. But I'll tell you, I have had such a sense of the beauty of life and what it means to be alive and the preciousness of life to this moment. I get what it means to be alive. And then here's a message, be careful what you pray for, because I started out in the corporate world. I was with Time Magazine, really amazing job, but I was just like, this isn't the path. And I had a near death experience on a Time Inc. corporate trip that was a turning point to leave. And what did I become? A chaplain. I became a chaplain with people in crisis and end of life, and which was truly magical.
Incredible. I want to go back to what happened. You were in Costa Rica, right? What happened?
Mhm. We were on a Time Inc. corporate trip. We shouldn't have been whitewater rafting. It was really treacherous waters. And I was on the very end of this boat. The head of our boat said, well, I'm head of the Olympic team here in Costa Rica. And we were going down the rapids. Instead of going down the sides, we went straight down the middle. And next thing you know, life vest, helmet. I was thrown deep underwater and I was like, this is it. Black all around me. I'm
Mm,
like, this is it. I'm going to die. I had memory flashes coming to me of my childhood, of my then young children. And this white light came around my body. And this voice said, living or dying is fine. And again, this peace came through me, but it gave me the confidence to just let go. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I let go. I came out from under rapid and I survived. And within literally a month after that trip, I gave my notice at Time Inc. where I was doing really well. But I'm like, this isn't it. This isn't where I'm being called to serve in the world. This is not the path.
my goodness. Well, thank goodness you were able to survive two life defying things, right? You were meant to be here.
Mm,
Okay, so how did you go from being in that corporate world to go into to help mentor people and to completely change your path of what you're doing?
mhm. I when I left Time Inc., I did some consulting work and I just started praying and meditating and journaling and just listening. The answers for all of us are in the moment when we listen, not in our busy mind. And I had a steeped meditation prayer practice since a young child. And I listened and listened, and out of nowhere, it came to me to study theology, even though I've been reading books on life and meaning and purpose since a teenager. And I thought, theology, I got into graduate school and I was like, that's it, theology. And then every step along the way, listening, graduate school, training to become a chaplain. I'm a board certified chaplain, private practice. If we all just listen, the answers are all there for all of us.
My goodness. Did you have support of everybody in your life? Because I feel like a lot of times when we make life changes, nobody else can see it sometimes but yourself. How was that as far as your support system was concerned?
Yeah, my husband saw it. In fact, we dated in our 20s. He knew my history and he's like, Catherine, someday you're going to help people. And I thought, oh, here I was in advertising. I'm like, no. So my husband, every step of my path, has
Yeah.
been so supportive. My family, my father, consummate entrepreneur. He's been gone now a number of years, but he yelled at me, screamed at me. Theology. He actually said geology. I'm like, no theology. And so it was a paradigm shift for my family members. So, but they came along finally, and my father was my biggest supporter before he died.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And I think that makes it easier too to transition into something so
Mhm,
drastically different now that you're helping so many
mhm,
people. I want to talk about some of the people you help. I think about how shattered our world is. We talk all the time about just people in everyday life, not people who've been at war, who are suffering from grief, from PTSD. We certainly have a lot of pain going on in Texas right now after recent flooding. It's just
mhm,
been devastating for us to all witness the things that have been coming out of the loss of life. How do you work through some of that pain with the people, with your clients, with your patients, whatever you
mhm.
call them?
Mm. Just about everyone I work with, and now in my private practice, I'm no longer a chaplain in a medical setting. Yeah, are people, they're searching, they're wanting more, they feel a sense of numbness and emptiness and unease. And just starting with trying to help them, where are you? Just even like, are you in your mind? Are you in your body? The peace and ease. It's not found in our busy, fast chattering mind. It's found when we can take moments in the present to breathe, to feel our breath, to feel into our heart, our soul. It's just that stillness. That's where the peace is. And so I meet with many executives, doctors, attorneys, women of all ages, of just how can you start to cultivate some moments of presence, some moments to feel into that stillness and open into flow, open into love. These are all practices that I outline, yeah, in my book, Everyday Awakening.
Well, and I hear you talking about those executives, and I work with a lot of them, especially as a medical reporter. I see their lives, I see how
Mhm.
busy they are, burning the candle at both ends, so to speak. But when you were talking about that, of that busy mind of going 24/7, I also see our teens in that right now. Can't get
Mhm.
off their phones for a second, can't be still for a minute. So it seems like it's very difficult to connect. It's hard to turn the brain off for this generation. I don't even feel like it's their own fault. I feel like it's devices that we've given them, right?
Mhm.
How do parents, what is your suggestion for us to try to help them for a moment just be still, just to listen to their life and everything around them?
Mhm. I think community and connection is so important. In fact, we're in a loneliness epidemic. One out of two people in the United States are lonely. And the antidote is connecting with one another. So, for young kids, teenagers, instead of trying to talk on the phone or FaceTime or play games, can they go play basketball? Can they get together and have ice cream? Right? Just being with people in presence and community is so healing and so important.
Let's talk more about spiritual disconnection. You were talking about in the very beginning that you really didn't feel anything until your cancer diagnosis. And then the prayers really led to this beautiful relationship with the Lord. How do you help people work through that? Because it's not something that I feel like you can put in somebody else's heart. You can tell them about it. They have to be open to it, right? But what is your best suggestion for somebody who feels there might be something bigger out there, but they just don't know what to do with that
Mhm,
information?
mhm. And my years as a chaplain and continuing in my private practice, I've worked with thousands of people. And here's where I've landed. Language is limiting. When you meet with someone, we're energy, we have an energy field around us. And everyone's gonna have different words for it. It might be a sense of energy, it might be a sense of God, Allah, Brahma, source, higher power. But tuning in when you can move out of your being in your busy mind to come into your body and feel that energy. And what is that for you? What is life giving? What gives you some sense of peace and joy and passion? So I help people start to unpack that, unearth that, and
Mhm.
name that and feel into it. And we're all different people and all going to have different experiences.
Oh, that sounds so powerful. I just love mindfulness. I feel like it changes everything in life when you can actually find the time and the energy and then the know-how as you help lead
Mhm.
people to do that. Let's get a little more medical with this. I understand you also help people through neuroscience. How do you do that?
Yeah, I'm trained in neuroplasticity, certified through Rick Hansen. I worked with Rick Hansen in his positive neuroplasticity program, and I've studied many of them. And I'll tell you, they all have four key points of how every one of us can rewire a negative thinking mind. The first, I'll just quickly tell you, the first is, can you identify the negative thought, the worry, the anxiety, the rumination? When you can, it starts to calm your nervous system. The second is, can you name the feeling? Not always easy, but can you name the feeling? Starts to calm our nervous system. Third, can you feel it for a few, seconds, actually, 30 seconds, 90 seconds, the typical emotion comes through you. And then growing the good. When we marinate in a positive image, positive affirmation, it's creating positive new neural pathways in our brain. Everyone listening right now, every one of us can learn to rewire that negative, that worry mind where we're getting a limbic loop.
Oh, and I hope that people take that seriously and realize that they too, yes, they can, because everybody feels like, oh, that's for
Mhm.
somebody else. But no, it can be in yourself and be life changing. Do you find from all the people that you've talked to through the years tend to ruminate on the same thing? They get stuck in that same thought, or do they have lots of them that sort of come and go through the years?
I would say all the above. And here's
Hmm.
what we know: we can turn on the stress response by thought alone, by what we think, then triggers that emotion, the feeling.
Hmm.
And then you get in what's called this limbic loop that happens to every one of us. But I think a big takeaway is awareness. Where are you? Can you tune in and notice, wow, I'm in my mind all day or all half the day? Can you take a break? Come into your body and just breathe or move your body, go out, take a walk in nature. We
Hmm.
can change and learn how to live from our heart and soul. Every one of us.
I feel like you are such a bright light and you feel so light and happy, but you think about your job of what you did for a while as a hospice chaplain. I know that had to be very difficult, but I do know that the end of life can be incredibly beautiful. I was with most of my grandparents as they took their last breath, so I know what that's like and I've experienced that. Can you talk about some lessons that you've learned at end of life that we could all think about while we're alive and healthy and before we ever even get close to that moment in time?
Mhm. Well, here's my message. Take it with a grain of salt. But I talk about this in my book, Everyday Waking. But death is not an end. I've been with, I don't know, probably 1,000 plus people who've passed with them
A
when they died
thousand.
for years. I was a
Wow.
hospice chaplain with someone dying every day. And many people, I'm a mystic, I'm an intuitive. I could sense and feel when their spirit left their body. Many people came back within days to a week to see me in the middle of the night. I would open my eyes and like there they would be kind of nodding and then be gone. And I think we're a spirit and a body for a short time. And our spirit soul, that eternal spark, it's eternal, it's everlasting. And I hope that can give people some comfort that, we are eternal. When you tune into that oneness, that
Hmm.
universal energy that we are.
And you know what I experienced with my grandparents is they were a very sound mind. There was no dementia whatsoever, and I'm talking like toward the last moments of their life.
Mhm.
They would look up and they would smile and they would ask if we could see them, and
Mhm.
it was so confusing for us because we couldn't see anybody, but we knew they were of sound mind. Did you experience that as well?
Many times with people at end of life. Yes, with actually family who have passed, and colleagues, and many patients. Yes, very common in hospice work.
I think this conversation is so important. It's not one that I have on a regular basis just because, again, we've had a loss of life the
Mm.
past few weeks in Texas because of flooding, young lives. People here are hurting so bad. And I feel like a lot of those people, from what I've seen, are believers. And I just think that this has to give them such a sense of peace and of hope. I hope to hear from somebody who's been with more than 1,000 people as they die and what you experience. Um, do you feel peace with most people at the end of life?
I do. Well, I was with people in our level one trauma hospital as a chaplain, and then I was with people in hospice. Dying in a level one trauma hospital suddenly is a little different experience, but
Hmm.
hospice, the norm was people were at peace. It was rare that they weren't.
Hmm.
Yes. And maybe it was only hours before they passed, but a peace came through them and through the room. Yes.
Oh, I love that. Now, you're also a board certified coach. So, talk to us about what that means and how you're able to guide people through this thing we call life.
Yeah. So I'm an ordained minister. I'm a board certified chaplain, certified spiritual director, and certified in a range of healing modalities. So when I work with people, it's talk therapy, but it's also teaching people skills and tools, how to find and tap into the present moment, how to grow love in your heart, how to open into what this energy is and find flow. So I utilize a range of modalities when I work with people, and I teach that as well.
Now, when you talk about modalities, what do you mean by that?
So I'm trained and certified in tapping, EFT,
Mm.
emotional freedom technique tapping. I'm
Hmm.
trained and certified in sound healing. I'm certified in breath meditation, MBSR, so a range of modalities. That's what I mean. Just tools.
Yeah.
I'm also an energy healer, so I'm trained in Reiki and healing touch and Qigong. Is powerful modality about how we move our body to find flow.
Wow, this is incredible. And I feel like for someone who doesn't know and they're like, oh, what are you talking about? Let's just give an idea for tapping. So I've done medical stories on it. I know the lips have a lot of nerve endings, right? Also, like near the sternum. Can you tell people how that can
Mhm.
help, especially maybe if you're having a panic attack, it can pull you out of it.
Yep. So traditional tapping with the founder of emotional freedom technique, and I trained with a woman who trained with the founder. You have 8 key acupressure points,
Hmm.
and it's to clear negative, difficult, heavy emotions. So there's 8 key acupressure points that you feel the discord, the unease, and you tap, and it clears it. But a takeaway right this moment is if you're having anxiety, a key tapping point is actually your hand. It's called a gamut point, which is right between your two fingers. You just tap right here. Feel that, anxiety, tap. And then if you're still feeling unease, the 2 points right underneath your eye are really powerful points.
And is that something you would tap as well, or you would just hold
Yes.
pressure
Yep.
on it?
Yep.
You actually
Nope. You
tap.
tap. Yep. Right under your
For
eyes.
about
Yep.
how long do you have to tap before somebody really feels a difference?
I would say a minute,
So,
two
not very
minutes. Yeah.
long. So, I'm
No,
going to
it's
encourage you
powerful.
people out there, if you're having a panic attack or you're suffering from anxiety, go in the bathroom and hide out for 1 minute. I'm sure you can sneak
Mhm.
away. It could change your whole day, it sounds like. What about the power of touch? Talk more about what you were talking about with that and how that can make a difference.
Mhm. So I'm trained in Reiki and healing touch, and Qigong. I mean, they all have crossovers, but a takeaway in this moment is we're all healers. Every one of us are healers. And so one of my favorite exercises that I do is just now I hear it's called self-soothing and a way to identify, but putting your hands over your chest area and just breathing and feeling the warmth of your hands and just calming your nervous system, calming your body. You could invite in, may I be at peace, or if you believe in something beyond, give me peace. This is a powerful hands on practice to share.
I'm doing it right now, but my hands are really cold because it's cold in the studio. But I can see what you
Uh,
mean. I mean, it is absolutely, it's calming, right? I mean, you almost feel like someone's
mhm,
holding you and you're doing it yourself. So I can definitely feel that. Any other suggestions for people as we start to wrap up here? Just
mhm,
day to day life is so stressful so many times.
mhm.
You mentioned a few tools. Any other ideas that you can sneak out of your pocket and share with us?
Absolutely. Two quick things. One, I would invite people to just ask the question midday in the afternoon, at least once or twice a day. Am I in my mind, my busy mind, or am I in my body? Our body's in the present moment. And if you ask the question, like, oh, of course, I live in my mind, many people do. Can you like do this practice? Put your hands on your chest, breathe, just come into your body, even just feeling your breath, the coolness of the air coming in when you breathe in, the warmth as you breathe out, or when you breathe in, how your lower abdomen expands on the in breath and recedes on the out breath, brings you into the moment and just starts to calm your body. One other quick takeaway is I practice gratitude, and there's a lot out there on gratitude. Here's what I do in the morning: I wake up and before I get out of bed, I have a few minutes where I think about what I'm grateful for. But then here's a key takeaway a lot of people miss: I feel it. I feel thankfulness, gratitude, highest vibrational energies our bodies can hold. So I feel the thankful energy moving in my body, and then I have a few minutes of prayer. I see the day, my day flow, and this sets the tone for our day. Here's the opposite: you wake up, you grab your phone, yikes, or you start thinking about all you're going to do. We start our day in a stress response.
Hmm.
So it's a choice.
I love how you said you feel the gratitude because I feel like a
Mhm.
lot of us have a gratitude journal and we jot it down. But that's now that I think about it, that's almost trapped in the mind. Oh, I'm
Yes,
grateful for that, but I didn't feel it. I didn't take time to respond to that emotion, and I feel like that could really change the day.
it does. Love, gratitude, thankfulness, highest energies we can hold in our body. And the lowest is fear, anxiety,
Hmm.
shame, blame. I mean, so even tuning in energetically, like, where am I? What am I feeling? And like a mindful practice of, okay, what can I do to just come into the moment, to breathe, to feel thankfulness? I'm alive. I'm here. Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
just there's so much we can be grateful for.
and we do get this one life. And if we just have a few tools like
Mhm.
this, it could really bring us into peace in life. I mean, I just feel like it could really help a lot of people and make their lives more fulfilling and let them do whatever their goal is to do in life because they're not stuck in their brains. Is that one thing that fueled the fire for you to write that book so that you would almost have a guide for people to be able to know your insight?
It's interesting seeing I saw my book 10 years before it came out. I had a vision like, I'm going to write a book. And I told my husband, my children, and they thought, great. But then when the pandemic hit, I just at night, we had all this time. And I sat down and prayed and meditated, and I started typing and I couldn't stop. And I think a big
Hmm.
impetus, yes, my personal story, which is woven in a little bit, other people's stories as well, but being with so many people at end of life in the last days where they literally opened and cracked open, like, this is life, this is what it means to
Mm.
be alive, and then they died. And my message in my book is, you don't have to wait till you're in crisis, upheaval. You can choose right now to feel that vibrant love that we are, that oneness with this universal energy. It's here now.
Oh, that is so powerful and so beautifully stated. And like you said, you don't wait until you're on that deathbed. Do it today. Take a few of these tools, try it out, and you never know. Catherine, like I said earlier, you are such a bright light. Thank you for sharing your beautiful testimony, all that you've learned through the years. And I really feel like you're making a difference and will continue now that our Fox 26 viewers know about that book, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. Lovely to talk with you. Blessings to you.
You too. Well, I hope you continue to be a bestseller. Get those copies out there and make a difference. Thanks again, Catherine. It's an honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
And I just want to encourage you all to join me, same time, same place, every single week here, Tuesdays, 2:30, also on Saturday mornings. If you want to reach out to me, maybe you have a story idea, maybe you want to be featured here on Lunch for the Soul, I would love to hear from you. It's easy to find me. Just email me at melissa.wilson@fox.com, and I'll do my best to get back to you quickly. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you've been blessed by this segment of Lunch for the Soul, and I'll see you back next time. Thanks for being here.